Jewelry design is a life lived with wearable art. My name is Warren Feld, and I'm here to share some of my life experiences and insights with you about beading and jewelry making. In this class, learn how much shaping, interest, and dimensionality you can achieve with a simple basic brick stitch by creating my Tuxedo Park Bangle Bracelet. The brick stitch is easy to learn, fun to do, and offers many design possibilities for the bead weaving artist. Brick stitch is often overshadowed by its very close but more popular cousin, the peyote stitch. I often think that one of the reasons for this is that introductory brick stitch projects lack some of that wow factor. The basic brick stitch typically is taught by having the student make a simple pyramid. Perhaps some long dangly fringe is worked off the base of the pyramid to make Native American earrings, or perhaps linking several pyramids together to make a bracelet. When the introductory project is boring, students lose interest in the stitch. However, too often ignored in these introductory brick stitch projects are the powerful structural properties of the stitch itself. The stitch is very versatile. The brick stitch can be used to create a broad canvas and give this canvas a great deal of flexibility where many stitches would leave it too stiff. At the same time, the brick stitch can allow the canvas to hold and maintain its shape where many other stitches might get floppy and too loose. Brick stitch can also easily give this canvas very varied shapes, edges, and open spaces, and allow a great deal of control of thread path and bead placement where other stitches could not. The Tuxedo Park Bangle Bracelet is an introductory project that introduces the stitch in several variations to pique your interest and turn you into a brick stitch fan. This video tutorial is presented from what is called the design perspective. The design perspective focuses on how the jewelry designer and bead worker make choices about what to do and not to do, about what to include and not include, about how to balance off conflicting demands between beauty and functionality. In this video tutorial, I first guide you through the project planning process. That is, I discuss the types of choices I made in creating this piece. These choices include things about technique. They include things about color and materials. They include things about form, structure, and function. Then I go over in detail, step by step, easy to follow instructions for completing the project. In the Tuxedo Park Bangle Bracelet, we learn these technical aspects of brick stitch: how to do the basic stitch, how to decrease and increase with the stitch, that is, how to make things narrower or wider, how to create a curvature within what begins as a flat canvas, how to finish off the edges, and how to add surface embellishments. I introduce some design concepts as well. These include sizing a bangle to your wrist, anticipating construction issues, including identifying support systems, managing thread tension, and identifying potential areas of weakness. We learn to anticipate color issues, select materials, and work from a pattern and a sketch. The first topics covered have to do with project planning and design issues which must be anticipated and dealt with. These include conceptualizing the piece, measurements, selecting materials, working with a pattern and a sketch, identifying support systems, identifying potential areas of weakness, visualizing the process, and organizing your workspace. The second set of topics covered have to do with constructing the piece. These include going over the basic steps. We create a long link, we create a short link, and we assemble the links into a bangle bracelet. Then I talk about dealing with contingencies, such as what to do when you run out of thread and have to add more, or your beadwork feels too loose, or one of your beads twists or doesn't sit right. We talk about adding finishing touches. I review what you've learned and accomplished. I suggest 4 different color palettes, and I list some suggested readings. The materials you will need to have on hand are 2 colors of size 10-0 cylinder beads and 1 color of size 11-0 cylinder bead. We use cylinder beads, one brand of which is called Delicas, because we want the beads to abut tightly against each other without any gaps of light between the beads. We use 2mm round fire polish glass beads. The color of one of the 10-0 cylinder beads and the 2mm fire polish beads must contrast with the other 10-0 cylinder bead. These colors C and D give us that strong line element in the piece, directing and steering our eyes from link to link around the piece. I use 5mm lock rosin. Lock rosin are round sew-on, flat-back crystals with a center drilled hole made by Swarovski and is their series 3128. I use 15-0 seed beads as stop beads to secure the lock rosin to our links. I suggest having both size 10 and size 12 beading needles on hand. It's important to always wax your thread before you weave it. You can use beeswax or microcrystalline wax. We use 2 colors of beading thread. This can be Nemo or Ceylon or 1G beading thread, size D. One color matching the first 10-0 cylinder bead and the other color matching the 15-0 stop bead. It's very important to as closely match the color of your thread to the bead color as listed as best you can. I do not recommend using fireline or any other kind of cable thread. This stringy material is too stiff for this project. You'll need scissors, ruler, and work surface, a bracelet sizing cone, a big lighter or thread zapper. This piece does not have a clasp, it is a bangle meant to slip over the wrist. There's a downloadable handout that accompanies this tutorial. In addition, kits, tools, and supplies are available for purchase from Land of Odds or LearnToBead.net online. 4 sample palettes with supply lists are listed at the end of the tutorial. You can use these supply lists as presented or as a starting point for putting together your own palette and material list. Inspiration is a very important part of the creative design process. On a trip to New York City, walking from the East Village to Union Square, I stumbled upon this secluded neighborhood originally called Tuxedo Park. I wondered what qualities of life the people back then were trying to preserve with the name Tuxedo Park, in a neighborhood a couple of blocks from the hustle and bustle of commerce. So picture this. You leave a crowded neighborhood of expensive brownstones, boutique hotels, and the kinds of little shops you only see in New York, and you enter a postage stamp-sized park with overgrown shrubs and plants and trees that have inhabited this park for 100 or more years. You take a deep breath, relax, as if you stepped into another time and place, a reserved elegance, sophisticated, quiet. Then you step back onto the street, returning to the real world, shopping bags in hand, cell phone to your ear, a curious yet watchful eye on the crowds. And your Tuxedo Park bangle bracelet to remind you of it all. Join us at craftartedu.com.